Hello, hello. Hey, welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Hope you're all doing well. Obviously I went MIA, missing in action for a couple of days there. But I'm back now. And I should be doing things sort of on a normal, consistent schedule. Hope you all are doing really good. I hope you guys had a good holiday. If you had a holiday, I know not everybody has a holiday around the world, but if you did, I hope it went really well, and I hope you had a good time on New Year's and stuff. Yeah, if you don't know who I am, so I'm Axel from Get Speaking English, and today we're gonna do a crossword, and I have the wrong thing. Been a while since I did this. We're gonna do this crossword together. That is what we're gonna do today. So, yeah. So what's going to happen here is we are going to go through this together. You see, I haven't spent a lot of time setting up my screens. Anyways, we're gonna go through this crossword together. What's going to happen is I'm going to lead the conversation. I'm going to let you know which question we're going to work on when. So I'm going to direct everything. And we're going to work to solve this crossword together. So I'm going to try to give us alternative clues and things to help you figure out the answer. So when you think you know an answer, share it in the chat, and then when I see it in the chat, I will put it up on the board, and we will complete the crossword that way. All right, so right now I am live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and at the bottom of the screen, you can see there are links where you can play, you can participate there. So feel free to participate, put your answers in the chat. Feel free to say hello as well. Ask questions and stuff along the way. I love when people ask questions and things like that. So yeah. And I have a few rules that I will go over. Go back here. Yeah, so a couple of rules just to keep in mind while we are doing this. So my first rule is basically no cheating. So please don't go and look up the answers online. I think we should be able to figure this out without using the internet. So, if I tell you to use the internet, but otherwise do not use the internet, please. So let's just try to figure it out together. I don't think we'll need the internet. Also, please follow the conversation, so don't rush ahead and start throwing out answers to questions that we haven't discussed and things like that. Essentially, don't ruin it for other people. Don't jump ahead and start spoiling it for people. So we're going to take our time, we're going to go through it, take our time to talk about the different questions, and so please be patient and try to play along. Also, please be nice to one another. So obviously the chat is open. We're on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, so I can see your comments there. Please be nice to one another in the chat. Please be nice to me as well. I know sometimes I make mistakes and things like that. All of that happens. So I am also not using the internet to complete this crossword, so sometimes I also make mistakes, and that will happen. But let's just try to create a supportive environment where everybody feels like they can play and participate and have fun, make guesses, things like that, and have a good time. Also, some important things to know specifically about this crossword that we're doing. So for starters, it's an American crossword, so they're going to be using American spelling. So you can see on the screen some examples of American spelling versus British spelling. So words like, favor in American spelling are spelled with an O-R instead of O-U-R. So some different differences there. So we will be using American spelling in this crossword. Also, too, sometimes there's trivia that comes up, and a lot of it is American trivia or about American pop culture, so just keep that in mind. We are going to focus on the language aspect of it, so you won't need to do a lot of trivia. I might just pop things in as I know as we go along, but most of the questions are going to be about language, so that's really good. So we won't need to know a lot of trivia, so that's useful to know. Also, it's important to know that the answers will match the questions. So, for example, if in the question there is a plural countable, if in the question there's a plural, the answer will also be a plural noun. If the verb is conjugated somehow in the question, there will be a verb conjugated the same way in the answer. So all of that is really helpful to know. Also, if there's an abbreviation in the answer, or sorry, if there's an abbreviation in the question, the answer will also probably be an abbreviation. So that's really useful to keep in mind. Yeah, I know that one helps me a lot. And also, too, it's important to know that multiple words answers are okay. So they won't tell us what is a multiple word answer. Hopefully I will know, and I will let you know what is going to be multiple words. So some of these answers are going to be phrasal verbs, maybe common phrases, parts of sentences, things like that. Yeah, so keep that in mind. And also, too, because we are doing a crossword here, and I know that we're here to review English and to learn some new words, please know that some of the words that are in the crossword are not ones that you'll be able to use in real life. So some of them are pretty archaic, really old-fashioned, really formal, out of date. I will try to let you know if something is useless, alright? So I'll try to let you know if you can't use something. Along the way, we will review a lot of useful language, so don't worry about it, but yeah, you should know that not all of these words you'll be able to use. There are words in the crossword that I would never use in a conversation. So yeah, so that's kind of important to know. Alright, so here we go. So again, if you want to play along, I'm on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now. I'm gonna go back to my screen. Yeah, and don't be shy. Feel free to put in an answer. Actually, just give me 1 second. I was in the process of setting things up this morning, and I didn't get through everything. I think I'm working. Okay. Alright. So let's go to the first one then. Alright. So we have... Okay. So we have nearly... Okay, and then an alternative word for a donkey. So, and then what else do we have here? Pop culture thing. Let's do this one actually, this yoga need, actually. So, yoga, kind of a, almost like a sport. It's a form of exercise, right? Or maybe meditation or something. And there is a thing that you typically use to do yoga on, right? So a yoga need, this is something you do yoga on. So you lay it on the floor, right? You typically roll it out, lay it on the floor. We can see here that it's going to be 3 letters. If you think you know what that is, put it in the chat. I go make that a little bit bigger. So something that you would use on to do yoga with. I'm gonna get a little bit of a picture to see if you might know what it is there. One of these guys. Okay, here we go. It's gonna be one of these guys. So, usually made of rubber, typically, or maybe some sort of vinyl or plastic or something like that. You would roll it out, provides you some extra grip while you're doing yoga, right? So you're usually on your hands and your feet doing yoga, so it provides some resistance so you don't slip. And there's a name for this thing. So if you think you know what it is, put it in the chat. 3 letters. I will give you a hint. It starts with an M. This thing starts with an M. And we might use this word too to refer to other sort of similar style things that we would put on the floor, maybe to add some decoration, or to, you know, maybe put your feet on or your shoes on or something like that. And then get a little picture. Maybe near the door to wipe your shoes on. Here, for example, you can see like one of these guys. Also, we put down on the floor. So this is a mat. Anyways, we're gonna do yoga on a mat. So there we go. I'm gonna put yoga on a mat. Let's put that there. All right. Let's see what else we got here. So we have nearly a new driver often. Let's do this one. This new driver. So what, a new driver? So a driver is a person who drives a car or a vehicle, right? All right, so somebody who drives a car, for example, and usually you learn how to drive at kind of a specific age. I don't know what the legal age is to drive in your country, but I know here, so I'm in Canada, people tend to learn how to drive when they are 16 years old. So, so somebody who is that age, there's kind of a word that we would use to refer to young people who are kind of within that age gap, kind of. So, you know, people kind of between maybe the ages of 13 to usually 21 is 18 or 21 is kind of when you become an adult, you know. We're looking for a word to describe people that are, you know, before being an adult, right? So that stage in their lives. So we have a 4-letter word here, basically. Yeah. So 4-letter word basically to describe someone who is between the ages of 13 and an adult. I'll just say an adult since I know that it's different depending on where people are. They typically go to high school, for example. They're not old enough to go to university yet. So if you think you know what this word is, let me know. Somebody who's kind of there, not quite an adult, not a child, right? Obviously, adolescent is too long, so adolescence is not going to be the word. Also, the word adolescent is pretty formal. This is a lot less formal. So I think this answer is going to be a teen. Usually teens are new drivers. So a teen, or like, which is short for a teenager, right? They're going to learn how to drive. Anyway, so those people are going to learn how to drive. Perfect. And let me know too in the comments, how old do people need to be to learn how to drive in your country? Because I think it changes. Like I said, here in Canada, you have to be 16, I think. Yeah, 16. In order to get your license. But let me know. Let me know too how old people need to be considered a legal adult. So yeah. All right. Let's see. So an unstressed vowel. So we're learning English. I think we'll be able to figure out this one. but let's see what else is here. Spooky gathering. Let's do this one, maybe. This nearly. So we're basically looking for, I believe an adverb? Something, 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 something. Basically, like an adverb. Should double check that it's an adverb. That means if something is like, you know, it's not quite what it should be, but it's practically there. You know? So basically a synonym for nearly, right? So, and we can see here that we have an M in it and a T in here. This is a very common word. Okay? Super common word. So word basically to describe that something isn't quite what it should be, but nearly what it should be. So for example, we might say that, you know, the boy is whatever this word, 16, so he'll learn how to drive soon. So we're talking about driving. So we're looking for a word that we'll be able to put in here. So the boy is something, 16, so he'll learn how to drive soon. So you think you know it goes into this little gap? Let me know. I'll also say too that it starts with an A. So I'll give you that much. You're gonna start with an A. Start with an A. Actually, I might just put this one in here. So it's gonna start with an A. This word is gonna be almost. It's almost. Right, so the boy is almost 16, so he'll learn how to drive soon. Let's put that in here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. We're also not gonna do pop culture, but I think that's the let's see what else we're gonna know. Playing many venues. This is a music reference, kind of. So a venue it's kind of another word that means sort of a place that you would do something. So a venue, so a place where things happen. And we say that musicians play in different venues. So for example, sometimes they may play in like arenas, for example, or bars or concert halls, all sorts of different places where they might be able to perform. All of these are examples of different venues where they might play. So if a musician is playing many venues, they are going around and they are having performances at different venues around, I don't know, the country or around the world or something. So when a musician or when a band is doing that, maybe they just released an album and then they will go around, they will play different concerts all around the world. There is a word that we use, there's kind of a phrase that we use. This is going to be two words. So something, 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 something. So we would say that they are whatever this phrase is, you know. So a band, we might say the band is maybe this, to promote their latest album. So they are doing whatever this activity is. They're going from venue to venue. They're playing different places to promote their latest album. So if you know what this phrase is, put it in the chat. And when I see it, I will put it up. So we would say that a band is on tour. So a band or a musician, they go on tour. So they would go around from venue to venue. On tour. So we would say, you know, the band is on tour to promote their latest album. So that's what we would say. They're going around playing all sorts of different venues. So, so there you go. So let's see, what else we're gonna do here. I think we can get this one just because we are all studying English. So this is a word that not many native English speakers would know, but we are English experts here. This is the word, like the name of the unstressed vowel sound that shows up particularly when we do like phonetic, when we're thinking about like the phonetic transcriptions of words. Yeah. So, you know, you have the stressed vowels that typically get the sort of the long or like the full vowel sound, right? And then a lot of them, like the unstressed ones, typically get reduced to kind of like this sound, this sound here. So if you know what this is called, let me know. So we're looking for the name of this unstressed vowel, basically. This little guy here. That's the symbol, obviously, but it's kind of like that, like sound, all those that we have all the time in English. So it starts with an S here. Starts with an S here. The second letter is gonna be a C. I'm just gonna put this in here. And I can let's not talk about this. But yeah, if you know what this letter is, like the symbol stands for, let me know. That like that sound that we have all the time in English. In words like banana or banana, right? There's a like that sort of sound, right? Salad, there's one. Cousin, yeah. So this is a schwa. So if you don't remember, this is a schwa sound. The schwa is the official name for that unstressed little vowel there. Alright. Let's put that in here. If you're wondering what this is, so this answer here is spooky gathering. Something spooky is kind of scary, a little bit eerie, scary, right? And a seance would be when people might get together, they would try to talk to the dead, basically. So that is what a seance is. So if you're wondering. Let's see, what else we got here? Let's take this one. So this title holder. So a title holder. What do we mean by a title here? So usually, I mean, the word title can have a few different words, right? Or a few different meanings, right? So, you know, the title of a book, usually maybe, or like the title of a paragraph, like the name of something almost. But this here we have a different meaning. We're talking here we mean the title is basically kind of like a piece of paper that says that you own, that you have something. I think I just gave away the answer. Almost like a deed or something like that. This is basically you have the legal right to have something. So here, yeah, it can be either a document or you even just have like the legal right over something. So, so typically they'll talk about like the titles of buildings or something, or a piece of land or something. So if you hold the title for a piece of land, for example, and it proves that you have this piece of land, that makes you, whatever this word happens to be, so this is the name of a person who has a piece of land or a building. They have the title for it. So they are officially the person that has it. So if you know what that is, let me know. Put it in the chat. We kind of have a little bit of a hint here in this clue, or in this definition, the legal right to own a piece of land or a building. So basically a word for somebody who owns something. So you know what that is. Put it in the chat. So this person is going to be the owner. So somebody who owns something is the owner, right? So the title holder, the person who holds or has the title, this legal document, is going to be the owner of that property. All right. What else could we do here? We have a burglar. Deterrent. A deterrent is something that, if you deter somebody from doing something, you make it so it's unappealing and they don't want to do it anymore. So you kind of basically, you end up preventing them from doing it. So a deterrent is something that stops someone from doing something. So, and usually it's something that stops somebody from doing something bad. So in a burglar, it's a type of criminal that maybe breaks into maybe houses or maybe cars and steals things, right? Take things, right? So, so it would be really common maybe to have some sort of thing to deter, to prevent them from maybe breaking into your house, breaking into your car, and stealing your thing. So we are looking for, this is going to be a noun. We can see it's going to be a plural. We have a plural is deterrence. It's going to be a plural. Something, 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 something. So basically a thing that makes a very loud noise when somebody tries to break into a house or a car, for example. So this thing, or these things, make very loud noises when someone tries to break in. So they make a big noise, essentially, and that would scare off the burglars. It would deter them from getting in. So if you think you happen to know what that is, let me know. So yeah, so typically make a lot of noise. Sometimes they would also make like flashlights and things like that as well too. This thing would be very common as part of a security system. So you know, so there might be cameras, for example, things like that these days. And then also something too that might make loud noises, which would essentially scare off the burglars, or it would prevent them from wanting to break in. So I think this is going to be alarm. So alarms. Alarms are going to deter burglars. Right, so here we go. So we got some alarms that are going to deter burglars, make it unappealing for them to break in, scare them off, because it makes a lot of noise. So we have a flower. What do we have here? Completely. Let's do this one. So we're just looking for a synonym for completely. Something, something, something. So, you know, completely, like totally, for example. Basically, you know, instead of part of something, the whole thing, we're looking for a word, like an adverb that describes that. I think it's an adverb. Pronoun, determiner, anyways. Something that means, yeah, like, so not part of something, but the entire thing, the whole thing. We're looking for a 3-letter word that would describe this. So if you think you know, put it in the chat. I think this is going to be all here. It's going to be completely. Hey, welcome. It's me, Elias. Welcome. How are you doing? Yeah, so I think all is gonna be like the word that goes in here. Yeah, alright. So we got all, and what else is we doing here? I'm trying to like think. So I have a bread choice. Let's do this one. I think we'll be able to figure this one out. So, okay, so a dinner time chore. So a chore is basically maybe some sort of activity that you need to do that's not particularly not necessarily particularly pleasant, but something you would do maybe to clean, essentially. So we're looking for some sort of thing that you would do to get organized for dinner, right? So, and we can see here we have S-E-T something, T-H something, A something, L something. So there's like this, so you would basically, yeah, you would do this chore to set whatever this thing is. So for setting, and what does it mean to like set something in this case? I think they mean, you know, putting out the plates and the cutlery. So the cutlery, like the forks, the spoons, the knives. Maybe the glasses. And you would prepare this place where you would typically eat, right? I know not everybody eats at this place these days. You know, a lot of people just maybe eat on the couch and watch TV and things like that. But, you know, maybe you were with a family or something. You would all gather around the space, have dinner together, So you would take the time to do this chore, do this little activity to set up for dinner. And yeah, whatever this is gonna be our answer. So if you think you know what it is, put it in the chat. I'm bad at it, so you know that's yeah, no worries. I give lots of clues so we can figure it out together. So if you think you know what it is, put it in here. Yeah, so we're not gonna set the bail. We can see here that, so we have what? 5 letters here, right? And a place that we're gonna eat, right? I'm gonna get a picture, so we know what we're talking about. Here's a very fancy, a very fancy place to eat. You see we got all like the dishes and like the cutlery. So like the forks and the spoons and the knives and all the dinner. Yeah, this other, so yeah, this word is gonna be table, so we would set the table. So we're gonna set the table, basically. That's gonna be our dinner time chore. And at the end of our meal, we would clear the table. Maybe you would wash the dishes, you would dry the dishes. So lots of other chores that you would do. Yeah, that's what that's gonna be. Let's see what else. So we might know this word. Not 100% sure, but let's see. Sometimes we know things. So, a word for not quite closed. A something. This word typically gets used to talk, it gets used to describe doors, okay? This word is often used to describe doors that are not completely closed. So maybe they're almost closed, but there's a little teeny tiny gap. I'm gonna try to get like a little picture. This might be a new word for us. But that's fine. We are here to discover some new words. I'm trying to get a little bit of a picture. I mean, you can kind of see here. And this one here, this door is, yeah, it's like not quite closed, right? So we would say that a door is whatever this is. So the door is slightly left open. Do you think you know what this word is? Put in the chat. It's a little tricky one, maybe. Good little advanced word. So we would say that the door is ajar. It's ajar. So ajar is gonna be that word. So it has a little gap. Maybe to leave some air in, or maybe you just forgot to close it all the way or something. But yeah, so the door is ajar. That's gonna be that one. And what else can we do here? I'll do this Easter flower. So Easter, this is a flower common around spring time, or at least spring in, I guess, like the northern hemisphere, right? Gotta get a picture of it. Get a picture of this type of flower. We can see that it starts with an L. Very common sort of springtime Easter flower. So, or at least Easter in like the northern hemisphere is like spring, around springtime. One of these guys? So if you happen to know what one of these guys are, let me know. I know there's a bunch of different varieties of these. There are also the cool ones that sort of sit on top of ponds and things like that. But I think usually, I mean, at least here, these kinds of flowers are very popular to have around spring, like springtime, around Easter time. A couple other ones too. And you know, if you have a garden too, they would typically bloom around springtime, I believe. So bloom as in they grow up and then they open into the flower. So we would say that a flower blooms. So if you know what this thing is, let me know. I think this is gonna be, this is a lily. So this is a lily. I think there's even a variety of lily called an Easter lily. I'm not a big flower person. Let me know if lilies are also common in your country around springtime. Like, is it common to have lilies where you are? If you celebrate Easter, do you usually have lilies as well? Things like that. So let me know. Let me know in the chat. I know they're pretty common. Pretty common here. Alright. What else we got here? So we have a Dallas native. Dallas is a place in the US. But we're gonna see what else we can do here. Movie mutants. Deep singers. Oh, let's do this one maybe. So bowling is a game. It's I think it's, I don't know if bowling counts as a sport. It might. It's definitely a game. And there are some different varieties of bowling. I know that there's lawn bowling where you would roll balls outside. There's typically you have pins, these pins. And you have to roll a ball and hit the pins with the ball. So here we go. We can see we have a bowling ball here. These things are the pins. Okay. So yeah, there's lawn bowling, but you can also go bowling inside. And I would say that probably playing bowling inside, at least where I'm from, is the most common way to bowl. So you go to this place where they have, you know, all the different, we call them lanes, all the different lanes, the bowling lanes. So you can see here the different lanes. And this whole place is called something. It starts with an A. A bowling something. I'll put this here. A bowling something. Ends in a Y. Oops. Ends in a Y. This word is also used to refer to really small streets or like little back streets that maybe go between buildings, or maybe they're not even streets, but just little, like sometimes they're just big enough that you could walk, like you can't even drive on them, but these little passages that maybe run between buildings or between houses. So that's another way that we would use this word. So you think you know what that is? So this word, yeah, so this word, I'll also refers, also is the name of small, narrow passages that run between buildings. So maybe streets or something like that. Anyways, you would go bowling at a bowling alley. So alley is gonna be our word. So we have a bowling alley. Nice. And alley also refers to like the little roads. So maybe the back alleys or something, or you know, they'll be like, don't walk in alleys alone after dark or something because they can be dangerous. That sort of thing. Anyway, so an alley is our word here. What else do we have here? So it chips by. So chips. So this is an American crossword. So I know that chips could refer to I know in England or UK, I know that chips refer to sort of these guys that maybe come with as like a side dish for a meal. So here are like chips in the UK. We call these French fries in Canada and the United States. So here chips refers to more like a snack. This is a snack food. So we're talking about these ones. A potato chip. So these things here. So this is a snack food, right? So a snack. So you buy these. When you buy them at the store, they come in a very specific type of packaging. You know, you wouldn't buy a box of chips, for example. Or you wouldn't buy a bottle of chips, right? They always come in these things that kind of have some air in it to protect it. It's a little bit soft, like, not soft, but the container is if you could even call it a container, it isn't even, it's not hard. They kind of come in, I'm gonna get a picture. They typically come in one of these. So we're looking for the name of whatever this is, whatever we would call this, right? So it's not a container, it's not a box, it's not a basket, it's not a bottle, not a jar. If you know what this is, let me know. Put it in the comments. Whatever we call this thing. Starts with a B. Put that in here. B. Ends with a G. This is gonna be a bag. So you would buy a bag of chips, typically. A bag of chips. Perfect. Alright. Got a bag of chips. I'm just gonna put this in here. Alright, what else could we do here? Let's talk about this one. This unfocused sight. So, talking about sight, we're talking about being able to see things, right? Perceive things with our eyes, right? So we have B, L, BL something R. So this is a word related to how we are able to see, or how we see. And what does it mean if something is unfocused? If something is unfocused, or maybe even more commonly, we would say it's out of focus. So if something is unfocused or out of focus, it means that, you know, you don't see it very clearly. Like it's the image isn't sharp, the image isn't clear. Instead, everything maybe kind of runs together. So kind of the opposite. And you know, if you have glasses, like I have glasses, for example, you get glasses to fix whatever this is, right? Because if you need glasses, you don't have good vision, so everything kind of maybe blends together. You don't see things very clearly. You don't see things very sharply. So everything is kind of runs together a little bit, kind of blends together. I'm gonna get a picture what I mean. I mean, you can see this picture, it's not clear at all, right? It's not sharp. If something is in focus, we would say that it's sharp. It's like the opposite of this. So if you happen to know what this word is, no. Sort of describe this effect, almost. So I think this word is going to be blur. So, oops, blur with a U here. So unfocused sight might be blur. Usually the word blur gets used as a verb. I know here they're using it as a noun. It's not as common to use it as a noun, but we would say, you know, you could blur something. If you were a painter, for example, or a drawer, like somebody who draws, you might use something to blend your colors into one another. So you might blur your image that way. We would use the adjective form to describe this kind of image. We would say that, like, this image is blurry. So that would be kind of the more common. Those are the more common ways that we would use these words. So this image is blurry. Yeah, painters might blur colors together to blend them. So to kind of make them so they go into one another. So either as a blur or as an adjective, that would be the most common way to use these words. All right, what else do we have here? Holler. So to holler means to speak very, very loudly. This is a word about talking or about making noise with our voices. So, you can see here that this word is a 4-letter word that starts with a yell, but a holler basically means to speak really loudly. So to holler means to speak really loudly. Like if you want to get somebody's attention, you would holler at them. Or maybe if you were mad at them, you would also holler at them. So we're basically looking for a synonym a synonym that we could use here instead. That also means that to, you know, speak really loudly or something with a very loud voice. So this word is a lot more common than holler for sure, but holler is a great word to know. I know too, like people will say, you know, give me a holler to mean give me a phone call. So sometimes people will say that as well too, you know, give me a holler when you're around. But yeah, we're looking for another word. A little bit more common word to shout loudly or call loudly at someone. So if you raise your voice, you might yell at them. So holler is just another way to say to yell. So you would yell at someone or you would holler at someone. So, yeah. All right. Useful words. Let's see. What else do we got here? Another word here for very, or not very. Well, we did almost up here, which kind of means not the same, but this is kind of, we saw this word here, not quite close, so like very, yeah, word that means very. And what else do we got here to plump up? All right, well, let's do this one, this plump up word, maybe. GE something, first word, something. What does it mean to plump up? If you plump something up, like if you plump up an animal, maybe, in preparation to eat it, you would maybe feed it a lot so it gets bigger. So if you plump something up, you give it a lot of food so it gets larger, potentially. And you could use this word too, this plump, sort of to refer to people that maybe have sort of larger, kind of softer bodies. But we're looking for kind of a word that means to basically make something bigger. So make an animal bigger or something like that. So 2 words here. I'm gonna get is gonna be the verb. I'm just gonna put that there. Obviously we would use get to describe, you know, the beginning of something, right? When something starts, as opposed to when something just is something, where we would use, you know, the verb be, right? So you would get plump, basically. Looking for another word that means to get plump. So basically to put on weight, right? Essentially to put on weight or to get bigger. So this one is going to be to get fat. So if you plump something up, or if something plumps up, it gets fat. So let's put that in here. So get fat. Let's put that here. All right. I'm just gonna put this in here. So this green blue hue. Hue is a word for color, or the quality of a color. And I'm gonna give you this green-blue color we call aqua. I'm gonna show you some pictures, sort of like the color of water, kind of. But here we go. We have aqua, this green-blue color, green-blue hue. We might, and if something is very something, we might say that it's quite something. So, for example, quite a little bit more formal, right? But we might say, you know, this lesson, this lesson was very interesting. Or we might say this lesson was quite interesting. Quite a little bit formal. Also, I would say that very is a bit more extreme than quite, but they still have kind of similar uses. So, quite interesting, very interesting, rather interesting. Great synonyms there. So, yeah. Alright. What else we got here? I might move through this a little bit faster, since I know nobody's playing. Which is fine. I didn't advertise this. And I got back basically yesterday, and I was so busy. No, I got back Monday, and I was just so busy organizing things, getting things ready. I was doing some classes and things like that over the holiday, but I didn't really do any of the social media stuff, or I didn't plan anything, so yeah, so I'm really tired today, and I didn't get time to really advertise this. So that's fine though. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so I'm gonna maybe blitz through this really quickly. What else we got here? This flying mammal! Mammal is a type of animal characterized by having, you know, body hair, or usually fur, right? By having, so mammal characterized by having body hair, fur, warm, by being warm-blooded, we would say, as opposed, so being able to regulate their own body temperature, as opposed to having to rely on the sun or some other external sources to do it. Like reptiles, they have to rely on external sources. We are mammals. We can generate our own, regulate our own body temperature. We have hair or fur. We all have backbones. We have vertebrae as well. An internal skeleton. So we're looking for a type of mammal that flies. Type of mammal that flies. There's not very many of them. Pretty rare. You think you know what this is? I'm gonna get a little picture. One of these guys. They're typically nocturnal. A nocturnal animal is something... A nocturnal animal is one that is active during the night. As opposed to, I think, what is it? Diurnal? I don't know if I said that right. Diurnal. Active during the daytime. But yeah, what are these guys? So, I think this is the only flying. Well, there's like those squirrels, the gliding squirrels. They kind of fly, but not really. These guys can flap their wings and take off into the air, right? So this is a bat. Anyways, a bat. Let's look at a bat. Put that there. All right. And what else do we got here? I'm just gonna put this in here. So Dallas, like I mentioned earlier, it's a place in the United States, the city. really large city in Texas, the state of Texas. And a native, a person that lives in Texas, is a Texan. So I'm just gonna put that in here. Texan. Yeah, let's do that here. And if you happen to know what this one is, put it in here. Otherwise, I'm just gonna put it in here. But so movie mutants. This is a reference to kind of comic book characters, and I think there's been a lot of, I mean, there's been so many movies these days about comics and things like that. So the X M something something, there's basically that have been in a lot of movies. So comic book characters that have been that a lot of movies have been about. So if you know what those are, let me know. Otherwise, I will put it in here. But we're gonna do a different question in the meantime, I think. We're gonna do this one really quickly. So, sprinted. So we can see here we have the past form of this verb, right? So we know that this answer is going to be the past form of a verb, right? So, and what does it mean to sprint? It kind of means to go very, it's kind of like a style of walking. Or, you know, moving on your legs, I guess, basically. Right? You know, you could walk, for example. Or just saunter. You could also, yes, to sprint. You could jog, right? So different styles of moving with our body on our feet, right? And to sprint means to sort of go very quickly. Usually to go very, very fast for a very short distance. So for example, it's very common to do this as a race, right? So people will have to go very, very, very quickly for a very short period of time because they're running so quickly it is hard to keep it up for a very long time, right? Go very fast for a very short distance. So we're looking basically for a synonym or maybe a more general word that can describe this. So we have this something an, and remember that this is the past form of whatever this answer is. So if you think you know what that is, basically that would describe whatever these people are doing, that they're going very, very, very quickly. I suppose this too, to jog, would also count as this. If you jogged for a while, it would count. But yeah, I think this answer is going to be ran. So, past form of run, right? So, these people are running. They're running very quickly. They're sprinting very quickly. I gotta turn. They're gonna go back up here. So I see nobody's put it, but our movie mutants, I think, are gonna be the X-Men. Let's put that in here. Put that in here so we can do this one maybe. Oh, this would be good. Oh, there's an so I did this earlier really quickly. I think there's a mistake in here, but that's fine. All right, so a word for a school paper. What a paper. What does a paper mean in school? It's almost like an assignment. basically another word for a writing assignment. We would call it a paper, a little bit more of a formal word to refer to a writing assignment. And typically you would write a paper on some sort of, maybe you would write like a scientific paper or something like that. You do some sort of study and then you would write about your findings in some sort of a paper, right? You might also write some sort of an opinion piece or something like that, which I think is what this is more like. So we're looking for the word for some sort of piece of writing we would do in school where you would maybe talk about something, you would give your opinion about it, maybe you would analyze it, something like that. So if you think you know what that is, let me know. So, so basically a writing. So, the writing assignment where you would express your personal views about something. So the teacher would want to see that you would that you understood the topic or the subject or something, and then you would write a paper talking about it. And you know, it's very common to have to do for English exams too. We have to write these things, right? Give our opinion about things. So we should all know how to write these, especially if we are preparing for a Cambridge exam, because they're gonna have them. But yeah, this is an essay. An essay is like a short opinion piece. So maybe give your opinion about something or talk about something, show that you understand something. So that's gonna be an essay. And let's do this one. So this snout. So we can see here that this is an S plural. We have plural here. It's gonna be a plural here. But what is a snout? A snout. A snout is the part of a. It's a part of the body. But we wouldn't say that humans have snouts. We would say that animals have snouts. It's the part, so it's a part of the body of an animal. All right, so part of the body of an animal. For example, I'm gonna get a picture. All right. So, so here, for example, so here, a little pig, right? And this part up here, the front of his face, we would refer to as a snout. So, the part of the animal that would be used for smelling things, for sniffing things, this is what the snout is. So sniffing things, smelling things, sniff it. To sniff, it's like that action of deliberately trying to smell something. You would sniff something. Smell is a bit more of a passive thing, right? So you can smell odors, being able to perceive odors. So we're basically looking for a word, another word for this. A more of a generic word, starts with an N. For that part of the body, that part, the front of the place where you would be able to smell things, basically. So you know what that is. And we would say too that, you know, animals would have these, like dogs would have them as well too. Like here, this dog has a very, very long one. But yeah, the snout, it's basically the nose, right? So I think snouts here is going to be noses. Oh, this is kind of another word for that. All right. And what else can we do here? Yeah, so I know I just mentioned that I think there's a mistake here, because I think that this deep singers is supposed to be basses. But obviously this word is noses, so that's what this is gonna be here. We're gonna ignore this as well. But I think this is like says, kind of slang for the words says who. We're gonna ignore that. Don't write this ever. Yeah, we're gonna ignore that. Okay, well, what else do we got here? So we have some inlets. This here, an inlet is a type of a body of water. An inlet is a type of body of water, kind of. So an inlet is kind of like a body of water. So along the coastline, for example, if you live by the ocean, so I live by the ocean, you know, there are areas where the land will go out and then they will create these little, maybe little harbors and things like that, that are kind of a little bit more sheltered and things like that. I'm gonna get a picture, maybe something. Like, you can kind of see here that this body of water, like, it looks like this is connected to a larger part of water, a larger body of water, like maybe an ocean or something, but then it kind of goes in there and it's surrounded, so it's a little bit protected by land, right? Because it's partially surrounded by land, right? So we're kind of looking for another word for that, right? So I know I threw out the word harbor, for example. So that could be one word. Obviously, this is too long. We're looking for a basically like a 3-letter word. Something ends with a Y, and we know that it's plural because there's a plural in the question. Maybe the word port comes to mind as well. Obviously, that is too long, right? But maybe a port. Yeah, basically like another name for a part, like a sheltered little body of water. So whatever that is gonna be. Like here's another picture, maybe. You know what, we make this little sheltered part of water. So we might call this a bay. So a bay is another word that can refer to here. So a bay or an inlet, harbor. Usually a harbor, it's slightly larger where ships might go in and out of, right? But yeah, we could call this a bay or an inlet. All right, so I'm gonna put that here. What else? So plague. I'm gonna do that one. Spot for commuter cocktails. Trying to see which ones we might know. What you guys could be able to get. Maybe let's do this bottom part here. So enjoy the slopes. What the heck is a slope? A slope is kind of it kind of refers to like how a hill goes. I mean, we can see in this picture here, like the hills are rounded, right? Mountains and hills, yeah, they kind of go up, right? They're kind of elevated, right? They have an incline, so they go up, right? So this is a slope, right? So enjoy the slopes. There is a type of activity. So slope is basically a hill, basically. But there's an activity that we would do. This is an activity people do in winter when the hills are covered in snow. Right, so there's a variety of different activities that we might do. Variety of different activities that we might do when there is enough snow, right? You might go, usually the word sled comes up here in the crossword. Obviously, sled is not our answer because it's too long, right? But kids would get on a sleigh or get on a sled and they would go down the slopes. They would go sledding. That is not our answer here. You might also go snowboarding, right? But I think we're looking for this activity here. I'm just trying to like get a picture. This thing that this person is doing. So we're looking for whatever this person is doing. The name of this activity, basically. So this person, we would say, you know, this person is skiing, right? So this person is skiing. So you would ski, you would enjoy the slopes, you would go skiing on slopes, right? On the hills. Let's put that there. I'm just gonna put this in here. Alright. What else we got here? Leg bend. So we're looking for the part of the body that bends in our legs, right? And there's kind of there are two joints. So anything that bends on the body, typically, this is a part of the body, parts of the body where it bends are usually called joints. So, like for example, so on your fingers, the knuckles bend. So this is a knuckle. Here, the wrist, that bends, right? We have elbow, another joint. These are all joints. So your elbow, your wrist is a joint, your knuckle is a joint, and then on the foot we have a couple of joints as well, right? So if we get a picture of a leg, a human leg here. Let's see here. Here's a drawing of a leg. Here's a drawing of a leg though, but we can see that it bends in a couple different places, right? So one joint would be the hip joint, right? So a place where it would bend. Down here at the bottom, we have the ankle, another joint, and we're looking for whatever this is. Starts with a K. K is silent, by the way. We don't pronounce the K in this word. But yeah, we're looking for basically this joint where the thigh, so this is the thigh, and the shin come together where it bends. Whatever that is. So this is going to be the knee. So the knee is the joint where the leg bends. So I'm going to put that in here. Knee. Alright, what else we got here? So looking for a synonym. for finish. So if you finish something, right, the opposite of starting something, right? To the finish. Basically, you know, the opposite of the stop, of the start. So basically when something is over, right? So a word that refers to when something is over, when it's done, right? So 3-letter word here, something N-D. So if you think you know what that one is there, put it in here. And then we also have this casual shirt. So a shirt, an article of clothing that we can wear. And something casual is very informal. You might wear it if you're just lounging around the house. You don't need to go out anywhere specific. So casual, informal. So we're looking for an article, a shirt, or an article of clothing. You might wear at home when you don't have to go to work, for example, or do anything sort of important, right? And I'm gonna get like a picture of what this is. So if you know either of these, put it out there. Basically looking for these ones. And I think that you might know the word of this, the name of this. You probably know like the full word for this. Because usually we don't refer to this as like this 3-letter word. We would call this whole thing a T-shirt, right? But here we're looking for sort of another way to kind of refer to it. So it's similar though. It's just, it's almost like this is the abbreviated word for whatever this is. So I'll give you a hint. This word is basically the name of this letter. So we're looking for whatever this might be, this letter here. And then we're looking for a word that means when everything is over, everything is finished, that we would use. If you happen to know, you know. So this is going to be end. End is going to be our finished. And we might call this a T. Just a T. So short for t-shirt. I think our T. So there we go. Alright. Champagne glasses. So this word here, yeah. Champagne. I know the pronunciation of that's a little bit tricky because the spelling does not, looks like it's something else, right? But this is champagne. That's the pronunciation of this word. This is a type of drink. It's a type of alcoholic drink. It's a type of alcoholic drink, kind of similar to type of drink similar to wine. That's kind of a little bit more, it's a little bit fancier. You might drink it during a celebration. You know, it's really common to have champagne at a wedding, or because we just had New Year's, right? We just rang in the New Year. It's really common to drink some champagne during your New Year's celebration, right? So there is a typical, there's a type of glass that they serve champagne in. And this might be kind of a new word for us. But they're kind of, they almost look like wine glasses, but they are very tall. They're very tall, they're very thin. You can see this here. Very tall, very thin glass. Kind of designed that way to contain the the bubbles or the foam on top of champagne. So yeah, so there is a typical, there's a word that we would use to refer to this type of glass. We can see there's an FL something something something, and we can see here that this is a plural because we had a plural here, so this is going to be a plural. Oops, plural here. But yeah, if you know what this is, let me know. This word is also, because English words often have multiple meanings, this word is also the name of an instrument. Usually it's kind of long. It's a woodwind. You would blow into it. So that is another. I'm gonna get a picture of the instrument to help us. One of these guys. Very long one. Classical instrument. This thing here. Whatever it is. So this thing, this instrument, this is a flute. So this instrument is a flute, and these are also flutes. These are champagne flutes. So different meaning of the word flute. So glasses, just for champagne. We wouldn't say a wine flute, but a champagne flute, we would say. So a champagne flute, those glasses. Very tall, thin glasses you drink champagne out of. Let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna put in part of this. So often there are quite sort of patterns in the crossword. Certain questions will sometimes play off of a similar theme or follow a similar pattern. And oftentimes the longest ones share some sort of pattern or something like that. So this one up here, it says set the table. I think this one down here is going to be set the something, whatever this is. So describe a situation. So we'll go back to this maybe when we have more information. But I'm going to put that in there for now. Let's see here. Dun-dun. Longoria, paste subline, history stretch. What else can we do here? Alright, let's do, so superior. Superior usually means something that is above something else, right? So superior is above something else. You know, in jobs, for example. So in jobs, for example, people will refer to your superior as maybe your boss or your manager, right? So they are above you, right? But so superior also gets used though, like in a couple different ways, right? So we're basically looking for some sort of word, starts with a U, something, 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 something. Basically to describe when something is above something else. Yeah, so we're looking for a word. Describe something as above something else. Try this. So something above something else. Kind of the opposite of lower, basically, right? So something lower would be below, right? But we're looking for something over or above something else, right? So that starts with a P. We might use this word to describe the floors of a house, I would say. word to describe the floors of a house, right? So, you know, you would have maybe like the ground floor, right? But then you would also have the floors above it, right? We might call them, you know, like the upper floors, right? So I think this word is going to be upper. All right, so upper. All right, so we got upper. And what else here? So spot for commuter cocktails. We're not gonna do that. Plague. We're also not gonna do that. Oh, we might know this one, maybe. So in a church, so a chapel is a small church, basically. So a word for a very small church, usually. And inside a church, you would sit on a very specific type of seating. I'm trying to get a picture here. I think you can kind of see them here. They have those long rows of seats. You can see here in this picture, we have like the long row of seats. There we go. So we're looking for the word for whatever this is. So we can see that it starts with a P, E, something, something. This is gonna have a S. So, we're talking about seating in general, right? But it's gonna be plural here. Yeah, so we're basically looking for the name for whatever these things are that you sit on. And you typically only find them in churches, I think. Kind of another picture. These sort of things. So this type of seating are called pews. So one is a pew, and a group, you know, all of them together would be pews. So pews are what we're gonna sit on in a church. All right, we're almost done here. What else could I do here? Yeah, let's do this one maybe. Rug maker. So rug, kind of something that you would put on a floor, right? Or to add some sort of protection, or maybe decoration or something. I know the word mat came up earlier. So the difference between a rug and a mat is that rugs are typically only made out of fabric, whereas a mat can be made out of maybe vinyl or plastic, or we had rubber for the yoga mat. So rugs are typically made out of fabric or some sort of textile. And there is this process that we use for taking fabric, right? Because usually it starts, you don't, you know, if you're making a shirt, you don't just start with a shirt, right? You gotta put all the little bits of thread together, put everything together to create a piece of fabric. So we're basically looking for a word for that. I'm trying to get like a picture. Try to get a picture of what we mean. Starts with a W, you can see here. Kind of looks like this person is doing something. So they're basically combining, you know, they're combining all of the different threads, the different strands together to make one sort of mass of one big sheet of fabric, right, which will become the mat, right? And so we're basically looking for the person who does this process. So we have this W here, something. I'm gonna put it here, so it's a person, so it's gonna end in an ER. But yeah, we're basically like whatever this is our root word, this activity. So if you know what it is, put it in the chat. I know most of this is done by factories and machines nowadays. But once upon a time, actual people would do it. For other pictures. Anyways, so yeah, so this process of making fabric, that's weaving. So we would weave fabric. So to weave fabric, basically, or you know, weave cotton, things like that. And then the person who does this activity is a weaver. So weaver, I'm gonna put in here. Yeah. What else can we do here? See, I'm just gonna put this in here. This is Eva. Let's talk about what the heck a pay stub is. So a pay stub is basically this little piece of paper you get from your employer that shows how much you get paid. So it'll show, so it shows a variety of different pieces of information, because you will, you know, you usually have your wage, right? So, and maybe you get salary or maybe you get paid hourly, but it basically shows you how much you earned in that period, right? So it shows how much you've earned in that period. And maybe what I'll do here. So it kind of shows you how much you've earned in that period. I'll like put it here. We can see here. So it shows you like what you earned, right? And then maybe there's gonna be, maybe you get a different additional. Looks like this person gets certain allowances, so their employer gives them some extra money to get meals and stuff like that. So there's the earnings. All of the earnings is how much you get, and then there are deductions. So these are typically the part of your wages that maybe go to taxes or maybe health benefits, different things like that. Maybe taxes to do with your professional associations or memberships, things like that. So you have your earnings, you have your deductions, and then afterwards they do like this calculation where they take your earnings, they subtract the deductions, and then you get, the pay is what you get in your bank account, basically. So we're basically looking for that line here. So something ET. So basically the line on your pay stub that tells you how much you've earned after subtracting any deductions from your earnings. So there is a specific line for that. So let's go back to it. I think you can see this, right? Yeah, we can see this here. So we can see here that we take it away. So our total earnings here was $36,600 or $3,600. We've taken away $1,150 of deductions, and we can see here that our net pay is $2,450. So the net is whatever is left after they do that calculation. So net is going to be our line at our pay stub here. All right. And what else do we do here? History stretch. A history stretch. So we're kind of looking for a word to describe a very important period in history. So something, something, something. So a word to describe an important period in history. So a stretch of time just means a period of time. So, you know, you might talk about history in terms of periods, like I said, like periods or stretches of time. We might also talk about them in terms of, you know, ages. You know, there was like the Bronze Age and the Medieval Age and different things like that. The Ice Age. So that's another word that we would commonly use to refer to periods or stretches of time in history. And then there's another one that we might use. Yeah. So, starts with an E. I'll put an E in here. Maybe that will help us. So an E. So, and I know while I was talking, I threw out the word like age, right? Period. Another sort of word for a stretch of time. Oh, okay, there we go. For a stretch of time, so that E there. Anyways, so we might talk about eras. So an era, another word that we might use to refer to a very kind of important period of time. An era. So there we go. So useful, kind of another great word. I was trying to see what else we could do here. Because I know what these are, but let's maybe do this one. So a spot for commuter cocktails. So what is a commuter? So a commuter is somebody who travels back and forth between home and work, usually. Students might be considered commuters as well, but usually people who are working, right? So they'll, every single day they make, you know, that daily trip where they go from their home to work and they come back or whatever like that. So that whole thing would be a commute. And a person who does a commute is a commuter, right? So somebody who travels back and forth. And a cocktail, it's an alcoholic drink, right? So I think what this is going to be a 2-letter word. No, it's going to be a 2-word answer. Something, something, something. New word. Something, something, something. And I think this word specifically refers to traveling by train. So this phrase is about traveling by train, right? So if you're on a train, the train is divided into different sections, right? So you have parts where people are seated, right? And then on commuter trains, there's usually a place where you maybe can get food and things like that. Maybe there's a place you could dine. I think this is going to be a place you can get an alcoholic drink. So a place, it's a portion of a train where you could maybe get something to drink. So basically, a place to get an alcoholic drink. And then we have a word for the part of a train. So whatever the individual boxes are called on a train. Yeah. So the different parts, the different sections of a train are cars. So the train is divided into cars. You might be seated in one car, and then maybe there's a dining car. Maybe there is a sort of a lounge car, bar, and then there's a place where you might get an alcoholic drink, which might be the bar car. You would get an alcoholic drink, a cocktail at a bar, right? So I think this is gonna be bar car. All right. And let's see here. So to describe a situation, we're gonna set the kind of a common sort of a collocation. If you're telling a story, for example, you'll want to describe the situation where the story starts, right? So you would do this to describe the situation where a story happens, maybe. Or we might say that you set the scene. So we would set the scene about a story. So that's gonna be that. And then let's see what else here. Plague. Or layers. So, if you were plagued by something, you were really upset about something. This might be a new word for a lot of us. But, yeah. Usually the word plague refers to some sort of disease or something, right? Right? So it's usually a noun that refers to some sort of disease or illness that spreads around, right? Something really negative. But we can actually use plague as a verb, and that's what's happening here. So if you plague someone with something, it means that there's something that's maybe negative that's weighing on their mind. So plague someone with something, have something negative that is weighing on their mind, for example. So you have maybe something bad that's happened and you're thinking about it a lot. Anyway, so we're looking for a word, and I'm sure this is a new one for all of us, but E-S-E. We might say that you are beset by something. So basically you have a lot of, you're maybe troubled by something, or you have to deal with a lot of problems. So to be beset by something. I think. Or yeah, you would plague, yeah, to plague someone. So yeah, so anyways, I think we got it. Strata is also a word that refers to layers, but did we do it? Yeah, we did it. So, okay. Anyways, good job. Good job, me. That's all good. I didn't. Anyways, I'm back now, obviously. So, I'm gonna be trying to do daily crossword again, at least for a little bit. So feel free to come out tomorrow at the same time, 1300 UTC, for another round of crossword. And thanks. I know that there's a couple people watching. There have been a few people watching. Not a lot of people participating, but some watchers. So thanks so much for coming out today. Really appreciate your support and you being here. It's always great to see you guys hanging out here. And I wanted to say too, actually, so part of the reason that I didn't get to advertise this was because I was really busy trying to advertise some other things. So I am having a sale right now on my conversation classes. So if you don't know, I've been developing a lot of lessons based on articles, sometimes videos as well, but usually articles that look at different topics that are sort of relevant to topics that show up on people's exams, essentially. Anyways, I developed a whole bunch of them last year, and I'm just in the process of releasing my next series of them. So I'm having a bit of a sale on the ones that I did previously. So if you want to book packages of conversation classes, they're on sale right now. So it's a 25% discount off of the regular price. So if you book between January 6th and January 20th, you can get a list, basically, of all the articles and get speaking about them with me at a discounted price. So you'll be able to find the list of articles on my website, also on Telegram. So you'll be able to find that there, and then also too, you'll be able to find information about where to book on my website. On my booking website, it's listed under packages. So again, it's all like 25% off the regular prices. So feel free to take advantage of that. Only available until January 20th. And also there's only limited spaces. So that's the thing too. So limited spaces. So if you're interested in doing that, and if you need help finding the information as well, you're more than welcome to send me a message. You can contact me on Facebook, you can send me an email, you can send me on Telegram. Telegram is probably the best place to get a hold of me, and do that as well. Also too, this Sunday I am going to be looking at my next article in my conversation class series. So that is going to be about distractions, and I don't think that I've put I think I'm sharing the information about the article a little bit later today. But yeah, I'm going to be reading that article on Sunday at 1300 UTC. It's called Why Getting Distracted Can Be a Very Good Thing. I know usually we talk about distractions and a negative thing. This article considers the benefits of getting distracted, especially if you are a creative type. So yeah, so I'm going to be looking at that one on Sunday at 1300 UTC. I'm going to be going through talking about the pronunciation of words, the meanings of words, any interesting collocations, phrases that come up, and things like that. And soon you will also be able to book sort of a discounted conversation class about that as well too. Anyways, so lots going on. Also too, if you want to do something a little bit more intensive than just conversation classes, you can also upgrade to a lesson as well too. I know some people like that because they like to get feedback on their writing or really look at the vocabulary in my articles. So there's an option to upgrade to lessons as well. So all of that is on the website. Finally too, if you enjoy what I do, if you find this kind of activity useful, feel free to follow me on social media. Feel free to share this to, you know, this video to your favorite English learning group on Facebook or Reddit. And just kind of spread the word. The more people we get out, the better, because then I will be able to do more things. I would love to be able to do some group classes on Zoom and be able to offer those at sort of a more reasonable price. I know that one-on-one classes can be expensive for some people, so group classes are a lot of fun though. I love doing group classes. Also, too, I would love to organize some sort of speaking practice on Discord, so that'd be cool too, but I need to know that people are gonna come out. So spread the word. That would really help me. So yeah, so give a like, give a subscribe, tell your friends. The more people we can get out, the better. That'd be really useful. Okay, anyways, I will be back tomorrow with another crossword stream. Tomorrow at the same time, 1300 UTC. I should be doing one tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I will be looking at the article. And then next week should be more or less the same as well. And then I'm going to see what happens. But anyways, thanks again everybody for coming out, and I will talk to you all next time. Alright, bye everybody.